Gulf bailout diplomacy is a term that we came up with to describe the practice of using bailout funding, which is financial interventions in terms of crisis, for countries to achieve their national security objectives. The Gulf states have paid about $230 billion in central bank deposits, soft loans, and oil and gas funding, and they use it to rescue states that are facing economic or financial distress, and they do so in order to achieve their national security objectives and essentially shape their political and security environments.
We've realized that Gulf bailout assistance was particularly difficult to track. There is a real lack of transparent and consistent data. The aim of the study is to shed light on this phenomenon, to try to understand its patterns, its objectives, whether it is a successful tool of economic statecraft for Gulf states. So we developed a data set of more than 300 data points, ranging starting from the 70s up to today. We also developed a few detailed country case studies, digging more in depth in these countries. So Egypt, Sudan, Jordan, Pakistan, Yemen, etc.
So Gulf bailout diplomacy matters for two main reasons, essentially the speed with which it is deployed and the scale at which it is deployed. The Gulf states are able to mobilize large amounts of capital very quickly to intervene in moments of crisis, and essentially by providing that capital very quickly to countries in need, they can have sort of an outsized impact in terms of shaping the decisions of those recipient countries. So they're able to mobilize money very quickly and at a large scale to achieve their national security objectives. And it also matters because the Gulf states pretty much are the most important source of bailout lending in the region. And so they overtake the IMF and they overtake traditional lenders in this part of the world. And so they matter because of the fact that they overtake pretty much everyone else in that domain as far as the Middle East is concerned.
Gulf bailout diplomacy has been evolving quite a lot over time. It has followed historical, regional political events from the Iran-Iraq War to the Arab Springs. It has followed also global energy prices. But what we note is, for example, an emergence of the UAE after the Arab Springs as a key user of bailout diplomacy, while Saudi Arabia and Kuwait were more prominent in the 80s, 90s. We note as well a greater focus of Gulf states to try to translate these packages into more concrete economic outcomes or investments into strategic assets. Now with the war in Ukraine, we see these packages resuming again. We saw quite a lot of packages to Egypt, for example, or Pakistan recently. We have this question of whether Gulf countries will be able to continue disbursing these large financial packages in the long term, where we see probably decreasing oil revenues in the future.